And just weeks on from our shocking campaign, the government has now announced plans to crack down on cosmetics industry with tough new regulations.
Dr. Zoe and Ashton Collins, the director of Save Face, are here to share their thoughts on the announcement.
And we're also joined by someone whose absolutely terrifying experience shows exactly why tougher rules are needed. After almost dying following a non-surgical Brazilian bum lift, Sasha Dean's joining us to bravely share her story. Morning to all three of you, and thank you so much. I know Joel was just saying we've had such a discussion about this morning, haven't we? What exactly does the announcement mean, Zoe?
Yes, so firstly, this announcement has been a long time coming, years. Many organisations have been campaigning for this. So it's good news that the government have said that they're looking at this, and it doesn't mean the law is changing today. And realistically, it might be a couple of years because this needs to go to a public consultation. But there are three main points that they're saying. Firstly, the most dangerous of these so-called non-surgical procedures, such as the liquid Brazilian bum lift, should only be done by suitably qualified healthcare professionals and only in a clinic space that is regulated, which to me is a no-brainer. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. You know, a lot of GPs are trained to do minor surgical procedures, but they would not have a go at doing this because it's very dangerous. Secondly, for lower-risk procedures like botulinum toxin injections and fillers to the face, that clinics where they're delivered need to be regulated and licensed. And thirdly, that there'll be more rigorous procedures in place to stop young people, children, being able to get cosmetic procedures. So it's great news that this is coming, finally, but it's not going to happen overnight. But my hope is that those cosmetic cowboys, as we've called them, knowing that this is coming, will either choose a different profession or get their house in order and get trained, get suitable premises and start doing it properly.
And so do you think that's what's going to change the most, the fact that the people who are doing it unregulated will then get regulated, get trained, and in order to do it in the right way? Yeah,
and there'll always be some that don't, but hopefully the numbers, I mean, those stats that 50% of the people that this morning surveyed needed medical support after a procedure, that's shocking to me, really shocking, those numbers. So hopefully we'll see that go right down.
Sasha, thank you so much for coming in today. Would you mind talking us through the decision to get a BBL?
Yeah, basically all of my life I'd had an irregularity on one side of my body. I'd gone to the gym, had various personal trainers, even special physiotherapy to try and build up a muscle that wouldn't grow on my left side. Yeah. So when I went to the gym, obviously the muscle would grow, but it would grow faster on the right. So my left side was always really, really flat. So when this came through, this seemed like the perfect sort of option for me to try and get some symmetry on my body.
And it was something that you really looked into?
I really, really did, yes. Yeah, I did my research. Yeah. It kind of, it did seem like the easy option because it's sold to you as simple as having your lips done. You know, it's the same product. We know that, you know, it's quick. You can just sort of be in and out and have it done. And, it seemed like perfect for me. You know, I didn't want to go down the surgical route. Yeah. I did look into that. That wasn't for me in the end. So, I was excited.
And it's far from that, isn't it, Dr. Zoe? From being a simple procedure, it's one of the most dangerous, actually.
Yeah, and the risk profile is as high as having the surgical version. Just because there's no cutting involved and it's needles doesn't mean that it's safe. So I mean, we both agree on this, don't we? It shouldn't be called non-surgical because even many surgeons would not do this procedure because it's so risky.
Interesting. Sasha, how did you go about getting the procedure?
So I was in the clinic where I'd go to have my, Botox and facial fillers. And it was just coming about. That it wasn't out there. It was back in 2022. So as it was a new thing coming through and they knew that I wasn't happy, I'd always said about, I wish they'd do like a filler for there, you know. Yeah. They knew that I wanted it done and they sort of said to me, look, this is coming out, it's just a hyaluronic, it's the same as in your lips. Do you want to be our model to have this done.
Yeah.
So I jumped at the chance because obviously I did start researching it and I could see that it was going to be expensive.
Yeah.
And so they did it at a cheaper rate for me to be sort of like their model.
Yeah.
And that's how it came about.
And it was a place that you had been going to for a few years, so you knew the people there, so you trusted them.
Yep.
When did the complications start?
So I'd had it done a couple of times before, and so the first and the second time, everything went OK. The third time, I did get a little bit of an infection, but I rang the clinic that I went to, and they said, take some antibiotics, which I did, and it went away. For me, it was the last time. It was catastrophic, obviously. Now, the problem arose for me because I left the clinic and had it done at the nurses. She was sold to me as a nurse, at her house. And so, yeah, that's where it all went wrong for me.
What did the doctors say when you got to the hospital?
I don't really remember much arriving into the hospital. I was pretty much in and out of consciousness for 2 days at home prior. We kind of put that down to flu and the winter and stuff like that, but I was dying at that stage. Unbeknown to us, I was dying. So...
and was it septic shock?
Yes. Yeah, so when I was at home and the ambulance was called, I remember the word sepsis.
Yeah.
But I do then remember in A&E, I heard the word septic shock and I heard multiple organ failure. So that's kind of sort of all I remember. My partner had to follow behind the ambulance, and by the time he had got into the emergency department, they said, you need to call the family. She is not going to make it. And I know that it's only the speed of the doctor that was in A&E at that time that saved my life, because, you know, they were pumping me with industrial strength antibiotics.
So they gave you only a 5% chance of survival, right?
Yeah.
And they put you into an induced coma.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's just horrific, isn't it, when you hear your story?
Yeah.
And then obviously you've, I want to say got better, but actually that's quite far from the reality, because the knock-on effects that you've had since leaving hospital have just continued. Yes,
yeah, and not just for me, it ripples out. So to my partner, my daughter, my family, my mum and dad, you know, I've got PTSD and the trauma. I've had all the counselling for that, but I look at my family that equally are suffering. They didn't know I was doing this to start with. My parents didn't, so it came as a big shock to them. But you know, you just don't think that this is going to happen.
Ashton, you spoke to the government this week about these new announcements. What does it mean, do you think, for patients of cosmetic surgery now?
We're delighted with it. You know, it's something that we've been campaigning for 2 years, and you know, it's great that they're prioritising the highest risk procedures, which, as Dr. Zoe said, are technically surgical procedures that should only be carried out by a certain number of healthcare professionals. And so we're delighted that that is going to come into force, although, you know, not immediately, but we are delighted with it.
You've been campaigning with government, which is absolutely fantastic, and you're also working alongside people who have had devastating effects, like Sasha.
Yeah.
How's that been?
So traumatic. You know, these poor women who quite literally have nearly lost their lives due to a procedure that they were sold as being a risk-free, cheaper alternative to a surgical counterpart, and then not to be looked after by that person and to be blocked when things go wrong and then left to fend for themselves is just horrific. And it's thanks to people like Sasha who've so bravely shared their stories that I think this regulation has come about.
I think, and the announcement doesn't specify exactly sort of the level of procedure that is sort of included. Is that right? Is there some sort of grey area with it at the moment?
Yeah, there is some ambiguity about that at the minute. Our campaign, we've been calling for these high-risk procedures to be carried out only by plastic surgeons in CQC-regulated settings. I think the definitions in terms of what that law will look like will follow the public consultation, and we'll continue to lobby for plastic surgeons only, because even in those skilled surgical hands, these still carry such a great degree of risk.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear, isn't it? many more regulations need to go in place to make sure everyone's safe and not anyone can do the procedures. I'm so sorry for what you've experienced, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Really appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, listen, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.